Hello, Moon. I missed you. This is the first episode, but I still missed you.
Hello, Moon.
Hello, Moon.
Hello, Moon.
Hello, Moon.
Hello, Moon.
Hello, Moon.
Wow. Anyway, hello, Moon. I'm Jonathan, and with me is...
Jessica.
And Jason.
And we are... Hello, Moon. Yeah, we're just a few people who were real close. And we have interests that we want to talk about. And on this episode, we thought we'd start it off
We
with
probably should have written an intro.
I said something, too. I said it. We should have talked about it.
Well,
Who goes first? I literally said this beforehand.
I just panicked and I started...
Let's go with the flow, Jessica. Let's just see where we end up. This is where we end up.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, it's fine.
But yeah, we figured we'd discuss different topics and hear some interesting stories that we each had to share. And this week we were talking about doing ghosts and cemeteries and all things spooky.
No, that was not necessarily the
Is
one.
that the topic?
The topic I threw out is why do people clean graves? And we got from there to ghosts and cemeteries.
Yeah, I guess we just broadened it a little bit.
I mean, it is a little bit more broad, but I was just more interested in like YouTube videos of people cleaning graves.
Like cleaning gravestones and grave sites? Or what do you mean?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Like
Like-
weed eating and...
Yeah.
Well,
Scraping.
groundskeeping.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. But like I was kind of curious about like what draws people to gravestones to clean them
Probably
and the
quiet,
act of it.
peaceful.
Yeah, I was reading a lot about it, and it was peaceful to a lot of people. There, like the cleanliness, and afterwards they would go and research the graves of the people who belong there
I mean,
on
you,
like Ancestry.com.
I guess you'd kind of hope that someone would do the same for you when you're long gone and all your family is dead too, and everyone who ever knew you.
And your
But there's
casket's going to rot within 80 years.
Some nice young person, and by young I mean not dead, is like, hey, I'm gonna show you a little respect. I do really like those sped up yard work videos.
It's
and,
essentially the same thing.
yeah, like I really want to play with one of those power washers.
Yeah.
It's, like,
You
fun.
see the power washers for the graves.
You like split a headstone in two with one.
I don't think they're that strong.
It's a really
Depends on
old
how old that
headstone.
headstone is, yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite TikTokers uses something called a spirit box. Have you ever heard of this, Jason?
No.
It's like a radio that continually picks up the channels, and it's like AM and FM.
I've seen those on like the ghost
yeah.
hunting shows and things
Yeah.
like that, yeah.
But like the spirit's supposed to pick out like words throughout the channel, and that's how the spirit is communicating to you.
Now
Yeah.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I don't know. Some of these videos are amazing. I follow this TikToker named Santa Paranormal, and he has a spirit box with him. And they're really intriguing. Like one time he walked up to a grave and he was going to clean it, and it said dad. And a voice like of a child said dad.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I'm not your dad. And then it was like, you could tell like the spirit was sad, I guess. I don't know.
I'm not your dad. I'm your Uncle Argyle.
Who's Uncle Argyle?
It's a Braveheart thing.
Oh, I didn't get that one.
No, it wasn't really meant to get. It's dumb.
But he does have some really great videos. And one of the things that he says is like when a spirit says you need to leave, he leaves almost immediately. But one time I did see this video of him cleaning a gravestone, and the voice said, "You did a great job cleaning." And he's like, "Thanks, spirit." It was sweet.
That's a lot of stuff to be very clear.
Well, I don't know how it works. It's like a radio.
We can get one for $90 off Amazon.
Yeah, I was thinking about purchasing it, but I feel like that might be too much.
No, you guys have said you have a ghost here.
I don't want to talk about that.
Why not?
It doesn't make me look good.
This would be the best place to use the spirit box.
I mean, we had that app for
We
a
could take it
little
out
bit.
to Bonnie and Clyde are buried nearby.
Yeah.
We could be like, "Hey, where'd you bury the gold?"
Don't you know that people did that already? You know, that's a thing.
We could go out to the Von Erichs' graves. They live right there nearby too,
Yeah.
and we could wrestle.
On
Yeah,
the
give them a show.
in the spirit box, just talking to us
They would
while we
cheer us
wrestle
on.
around.
You're like,
You guys suck.
hit them with a clothesline.
There is a thing called a tombstone tourist. Did you know that?
No, but I believe it.
Yeah, it's a term that was coined, I think, in like 2003.
No, where you just go around.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
it's
visit.
gotta be a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's a thing.
Yeah. Jonathan's going to see some famous grave sites.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
sure people just cross things off the list. Like, I want to see this one and that one and this one and that one.
I would like to go to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Hollywood,
Yeah.
where just like every famous person ever is buried, and you're just like, hey, there's Charlie Chaplin. Hey, 5 feet from there, here's OJ's wife, or whatever.
If we have success with the spirit box around here, we plan to go there. A road trip.
If it works here,
It's going to work everywhere.
Would you believe it if it did work, Jason?
I mean, any evidence would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to see it and hear it and determine what we're actually hearing and if something's being said. I'd be very, what's the word? Persuaded to believe, depending on what happened with it.
you know where a cool spot to go would be is the Buddy Holly crash site, and
Not in Lubbock, right?
no, in like Wisconsin or something, around Milwaukee or something like that.
Do you think they have like a whole site blocked off for it?
They do. They've got this giant pair of like Buddy Holly
Glasses.
glasses that mark the spot. And can you imagine like you're walking around with that box and you're like, if anyone's here, please say something. And all of a sudden he's like, hey, hey, hey. or like,
If someone's here, give us a sign.
yeah.
Hey.
Maybe, baby.
Well, it is a radio. What if it picked up a song of his at that
Or like
exact
La Bamba
moment?
or something?
Yeah. I was looking on TikTok at different spirit boxes, like just to see what they look like.
Yeah.
And there's this one video of someone trying to call Bertie Mac on a,
No.
on a
Mr.
spirit
3000.
box. It wasn't even near a graveyard. It was just like his house.
Just like calling out for Bernie Mac.
Yeah, he had lit candles and put them around there.
It's like maybe he's listening to us.
Yeah.
You can just summon them. Whoever you want. Just say their name.
You get like Paul Rubens and he's still doing the Pee Wee voice.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I did used to go to this site called findagrave.com
Yeah.
or findadeath.com, and it had the sites of where every like famous person has ever died, and it showed like people took tours and took pictures of the different spots, and then it showed where their grave is and what it looks like and how you can find it, and yeah, like every time a famous person that I liked died, I would go to that site and I would look them up, and
Would they
See,
have them on it already?
they were pretty quick about it.
Really?
They call themselves death hags, and they
Oh, so they are topophiles.
yeah.
Wow.
Tough.
And they're like,
The site's still up, and this was like 2002
No,
or
I
something
think it
back when I
still
would look at it.
exists.
And this no, it's still being run. So
it's weird.
yeah.
You know, America didn't have cemeteries before 1831.
What did they do with their bodies?
They actually had cemeteries on.
Food was scarce.
Ew. Ew.
Times were different then.
Oh. They had cemeteries in like family homes. You know, like their little.
Your backyard or whatever.
Yeah. Or in churches, I think. But that's not technically a cemetery. It's just a churchyard. But
Well,
they
I
had
looked
family
it up.
plots.
Technically, if it's attached to a church, it's called a graveyard.
Oh.
That's the term graveyard specifically meant to be used for cemeteries attached to churches. Otherwise, it's a cemetery.
You know, I saw that like a lot of people felt like grave cleaning and cleaning gravestones and stuff was not as common in Europe. It was really more like of an American thing, like our cleanliness and our need to be
They
clean.
like their ruins in the UK.
Yeah.
Well, they've got so many old ones with, I mean, they have way more dead there than we do.
Yeah, but
Some centuries of.
I was reading a Reddit post about it, and it was like this one guy was like, I think if I saw somebody trying to clean a cemetery in my town in Europe, I would find it disrespectful. Because you're kind of like vandalizing in a sense by cleaning it.
And do they not mow the grass? Or they just don't clean the gravestones?
They don't have grass in Europe.
They don't have yes, they do. I've been to Europe.
Wait a second, Jonathan.
Tried to pull a fast one on me.
I mean, that one cemetery that Jim Morrison's buried in Paris,
Yeah,
that's just like in the middle of the city.
Yeah,
that's true.
I always want to go there. And Oscar Wilde's buried there too.
yeah.
Do you have any ghost stories, Jason, you'd like to share?
I tried to find ghost stories. Like, I went with a group to the Baker Hotel in Mineral Wells, supposedly one of the most haunted places in the U.S. or in Texas or whatever the case. But and we went in through the maintenance quarters, which were barred up, so we just squeezed in through the bars, and we went through the whole place with our flashlights and up and down all the flights of stairs, the Kennedy Suite, the Baker Suite, the Bell Tower, all of it. Nothing. And I really was like, kind of like hoping something would happen. Because any kind of change of that perspective would change a whole lot of other perspectives for me too. I'm like, whoa, if that's real, then... You know, so I went there looking for something, and...
I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
Like one of the most haunted places. And like, nothing. So if I can't...
Maybe it's because they knew that you wouldn't believe them.
Oh, well, that's convenient.
They just knew.
That's convenient, ghost.
They're like, that man won't buy one of those spirit boxes. And therefore...
Like, if you don't believe, I'm not going to show you.
Maybe you just don't have an energy for them. An inviting energy.
I'm unhauntable.
They don't like your vibe.
They don't
I'm
like your vibe.
Unhauntable.
One time a ghost hugged me in the shower.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
With a boner.
I don't know if it was a boner, but it was definitely a hug. That's like one of my ghost stories. Is I was in the oldest or most I can't really remember, oldest or most haunted hotel in San Antonio. And I was taking a shower, and I swear somebody like came up behind me and hugged me, freaked me out.
Davy Crockett.
Remember the Alamo? It was actually across the street from the Alamo,
Yep,
technically.
there it was. Davy Crockett was known for this.
Well,
He's known for the Alamo.
And for hugging people in showers. That was his thing.
well, I
definitely had
I
male energy.
screamed. I screamed. I'm not joking. It wasn't like I was insane. I screamed, and my mom was in the room next to it, and she goes, "What just happened? Something just happened in here." She said that she heard like footsteps or something in the room.
Sam Houston. His Jim Bowie.
That was it's not one of my stories with ghosts. But it's just an unnerving thing to feel like someone is hugging you and you look around and no one is there. And then you're in the shower. That's another aspect of it.
And then you hear footsteps running away from the scene of the crime.
Exactly. And the night before, we had gone on a ghost tour of San Antonio, and they took us to our hotel. We were walking around, and we stopped at our hotel, and they were like, "Oh, this is the most haunted hotel."
You'd be a fool to stay here. Anyway, continuing on.
Basically,
It's like, oh, shit.
yeah.
A cemetery in Arlington, Texas by UTA. And it's a cemetery for the children of unwed mothers, like young women who were kicked out of the house for getting pregnant at like 15, 16, 9, I don't know, whatever age, would go there, and a lot of times they would miscarry, or they would give
At the
birth.
cemetery?
No, at the hospital nearby, or the
Sorry, I think I zoned out for a second.
yeah, it was
I'm so sorry. Continue.
there was like a little home for teen moms.
In
And-
Arlington.
Yeah,
Oh.
and sorry, I just didn't want. Okay, but
I need somewhere to put my hands. That's the problem.
What do I do with my hands?
so yeah, a lot of them would miscarry, or they would have stillbirths, and they would bury them in this little cemetery over there off of Cooper Street. And they're all lined up on the ground, and there's...
Wait. So the women would go to Arlington,
They were residents from the area.
and then they would all have stillborns.
I think a lot of them miscarried or had stillbirths. I don't know if they were abortions or not. I don't think they were.
Is
I
the
mean-
infant 18 graveyard?
Yeah, because they wouldn't bury them if that was the case.
Yeah, but doesn't it seem kind of weird that these women would go to
Well,
check in?
I don't know the full stuff, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
probably a legitimate thing.
I'm just fact checking at this point. Go ahead.
I'm just giving you the big picture.
Okay.
So there were a lot of infant deaths, and in the graveyard there's infant number 1, infant 2, infant 3, and it's like it goes all the way to
18?
a larger number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was walking around in there with a guitar.
Why?
It was the 90s.
How old were you? What are you doing?
Well, we had some cocktails, and
This is called taphophilia.
we lived nearby, like within 200 yards of it. So we walked around in there.
With a guitar?
I just happened to be playing it at the time. And,
Yeah, you took it to the baby graves.
yeah.
Okay.
And I noticed between
Someone's got to sing them a lullaby.
Oh.
I noticed between 17 and 19
Mm-hmm.
there was just a blank spot.
Yeah.
And so I wondered what happened to Infant 18. What was up with that? And so I wrote a song about Infant 18.
Oh. I thought it was called Infant 18.
The song is called Infant 18.
I thought the cemetery was called that.
No.
No, there was just a blank spot where Infant 18 would have been.
Huh.
And so I was like, what if he punched out of the ground? And
Zombified and then crawled out.
he wasn't a zombie. He wasn't dead. It was like Kill Bill.
That is not what the song's about.
Oh.
I don't know.
He was
No.
alive when they buried him.
I don't know. They just didn't see it fit to leave a nameplate for 18.
What if they did, like, take him out of the ground and, like, rebury him somewhere?
They were probably like, he does have a name,
This
and,
baby has a name.
and they found a family plot for him. His name is Robert Paulson.
What if it was just like the story where the woman has to go to this really crappy hospital where all the babies end up dying anyways, and then they bury the baby, and then she grows up and like becomes an independent lady, and then she like buys her own grave, and then she's like, I'm gonna have my infant that died next to me, and that's what happened to infant 18.
Yeah, it's like when you get a storage facility in between moves, and then you're like, it's finally ready to move my stuff. And,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's time to move the baby.
Time to get all my posters out of storage and hang them on my wall.
Do you ever have that like fear of being buried alive? I heard that's a very common fear.
It's part of why I don't want to be buried. Yeah,
You want to be cremated. You want to be burned alive.
I'd be dead for sure.
That's true.
I've never been worried about being buried alive. I always had a fear of quicksand when I was a kid, but I think that's
Really?
Just because all the
Where
movies,
did that come from?
all the movies for boys in the 80s,
There are a lot of
there was
quicksand.
there was
There's
a lot of quicksand. Yeah.
Cartoons,
Yeah.
bad, good guys,
Uh-huh.
we get stuck in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quicksand was a big fear
Never-ending
for
story.
some reason in entertainment back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was that comedian who was like, I was led to believe that we'd be dealing with quicksand a lot more often as
Yeah.
adults. Like just
It's
based on
true.
all the things it was in.
There was so much quicksand in the late 80s, early 90s.
There's a grave in Vermont of a man who was really scared of being buried alive, so much so that he had his wife promise him. No, to promise him that she would find like some sort of a tombstone situation where there would be a window in it. And so you could come and look into the window at his body decompose.
Yeah, there was one of those that they built like a little chimney that had a bell inside of it that you
Yeah.
could ring.
Yeah.
They used to do that on every grave.
They should keep doing it.
They'd have a bell attached to it so that if you woke up like if you were mistakenly buried alive, maybe not every grave, but it was a common practice. If you were mistakenly buried alive,
They would
you'd be like-
attach
you'd
something
go,
to your toe.
Ding, 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 ding. No, you could ring a bell that was attached to the outside of the gravestone.
I thought it was to your toe,
No.
your big toe.
There was some famous person did it where they had a switch that they could flip and it would do a light that was at the top, and I guess they would have to change the bulb out every.
Like there's a saying for that too, like the bell thing and the attached to the grave. I forget what the term is for it, but
Ting-a-ling-ling.
It's like, do not finger the bell witch.
I think that's it. Yeah. Do not finger. You know what they say. Do not finger the bell witch.
Do not come ringing when the bell witch is smiling. For
I'm
a
gonna
frown
look it up.
soon follows.
Oh, I looked up. I'm on Reddit, Dallas. It says, "What are your favorite local urban legends or haunted areas in the Dallas area?" The top comment is, "I did some research and learned that Garland has zombies." That's pretty good.
Accurate.
There's a spot in Arlington that is real. It's Israel. No, it's in 1954 or 56. There were 3 or 6 girls were all in this car, and they were on their way to like Bedford or somewhere to go see a movie, and they were driving pretty fast, and the bridge over the Trinity River was out, and there were like cones blocking it off, but they just missed it and they kept going, and somebody was like flashing their lights at them like pull over, stop,
Yeah.
and that freaked them out, so they gunned it faster.
What?
And they flew over the Trinity River, and they landed on the bank on the other side and like accordioned the car, and 3 of the girls, I think all the ones in the back seat lived,
What?
and all the ones in the front seat died, or it might have been some combination, but
Vice versa.
yeah, but half of them lived, at least 2 of them lived, and the other ones all died, and they've since like walled off where that old bridge was, and they've built a new one that goes around it. But yeah, they called that the Screaming Bridge, and they would say like at night, if you would go out there, you could hear like screaming, and teenagers would go out there at night and stuff.
And scream.
Well, just like looking for ghosts. And fun fact, there was a period where I was homeless when I was like 24, and I lived in the woods in my car on that street that was like overgrown, and I was like a Scooby-Doo villain. Like,
We're looking into each other's eyes very intensely while
Yeah.
you tell me this.
I would hear kids coming out there, and I didn't want them to discover my car, because if they discovered my car, they could either like mess with me, or report me to the cops, and I would get. I don't know, something would happen to me. I would lose the only house I had, and
In this forest.
so I would make noises and like scare people away from that area. And I felt like a Scooby-Doo villain out there. But yeah, I lived at the Screaming Bridge for I don't know, like a week.
It was this homeless man the whole time.
It was a really dark period. It wasn't a lot of fun, but
I bet it was the people in the back of that car that survived. I mean, in the 50s, those
a
cars
big Cadillac or something.
Yeah, those cars were fully steel, no airbags. The people in the front either went directly through the windshield or crushed their face.
The people in the back,
steering
their
wheel or
knees probably
something.
went to the back of the seat in front of them and pushed them even farther into the dashboard.
Right, the weight of the people behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely the backseat people that lived through that.
Yeah, I always thought that was an interesting story. My grandma went to Arlington High at the same time as those girls.
She didn't get invited to the night out.
Well, I asked her about it one time, but she was like, "Oh, I was like 2 years ahead of them or something. I was already
It's too cool for that.
I was
graduated."
supposed to be the third girl in the back of the car, but I was busy that night.
No, I think she had graduated already, and so she didn't know them.
I wonder what movie they were going to go see.
Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
In the 50s.
No, it was like 54, 56.
On the
somewhere in there.
waterfront.
Yeah. Rebel without a
Ironic,
cause.
you're right, yeah.
We're going to go see Giant on the big screen.
I like how they were still talking like that in the 50s.
Everyone talks like this in the 50s.
Yeah, see? Gotta go see Giant on the big screen, see?
We're females and we still talk like this. Any more fun facts for us?
I feel like you're hating on me for my facts.
No, I'm using it to fill the space.
I like to think it's a launching pad.
Yeah, so give us something to launch off.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Can we talk about Nicolas Cage's
Pyramid tomb?
his
Yeah.
tomb?
I don't guess I've seen this.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah, I've always thought that was cool. He spent like millions on it.
yeah. Let me see if I can find it for you.
And he
Jason.
built a giant pyramid, like mausoleum tomb.
To be buried in?
Yeah, in Louisiana.
Oh, wow.
He keeps dinosaur bones in there.
I would not be surprised.
I don't think he's probably the first celebrity that has his own grave built beforehand.
No, I'm sure.
That's
Plenty.
a pretty common thing. I wonder if they fight over that like Hollywood grave site. Who's going to get buried there? How much it costs to get buried there?
Oh, there are definitely preferred spots in there.
The
Yeah.
actor himself has chosen to remain silent about his reasoning for the flamboyant tomb. Some speculate it's an homage to the National Treasure movie franchise.
I was thinking that too. It has to be.
I thought it was for the Prince of Egypt.
What does it
It's for
say? Where
Stargate. He just really loves Stargate.
does it say where it's buried? Is it in
It's
LA?
the St.
New
Louis
Orleans?
Cemetery.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Zatarans.
Rio New Orleans rise.
Is he going to be buried in the form of the pyramid?
In the form of a pyramid?
Well, like inside
Slap them
the
all together.
triangle.
He's
Like
just
all of his
he's
hands
involved
and
like
feet,
this.
yes,
Yeah.
touching to a
Yeah.
point at the
No,
top.
it's just like one of those mausoleums. Like
I
you can
don't-
open it
does
up.
that look like a mausoleum? though?
He probably goes inside the bottom there.
He crawls inside the bottom.
Yeah,
He crawls inside.
that's why the Declaration of Independence is.
Then what's in the top point? Crystals.
Con Air DVD.
On their DVD. Full screen.
John Travolta's face.
I wonder what other celebrities have a gravestone pre-made beforehand.
I bet a lot of them do.
Yeah.
Steve-O from Jackass. I've always really liked how Hunter S. Thompson did his funeral and all that.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
He built a giant tower with the fist at the top with two thumbs, and his ashes were all put in fireworks, and they blew up out of that fist. The fist was like 100 feet tall or something like that, Johnny Depp paid for it. And, they just blew him up. It was kind of cool.
With fireworks. He
Yes,
sparkled in the
They
night.
mixed him in with a bunch of fireworks.
Yeah. Do you think that's a green way of dealing with things? Like,
Yeah.
The greenest way would be to just plop a body in the ground without anything around it.
Nude.
Yeah, and just let it go. That'd be the greenest thing. You do create, like, carbon monoxide and pollution when you cremate a body.
do you?
The burning of a body.
Well, they
So
had
it
that
is-
thing where you could be like, you're buried and you become a tree.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Become a tree.
We should do it with caskets.
They fire
and
you from a
cremation,
cannon.
Really. The only reason I'm choosing cremation is because I can't just be tossed in a hole.
I just like
Like,
the
I
idea
don't-
of
I
being
don't like
scattered
the-
different places.
I don't like the yeah, me too. I don't like the idea of being in a box and just slowly rotting in this box, and it costing like my family $3,000 or something like. I don't even know how
Oh,
much
it's
it is.
more than
More
that.
than that. Like,
Has
it's-
to be at least
It's like
10.
9.
Yeah, for me, like it's too impractical and expensive to be buried in a box. Like it's so expensive for no reason at all.
I saw this video once of this, like, I feel like he was an amateur rapper, and they like embalmed his body and then had him
Oh,
standing
yeah.
up for his own funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like a House of Wax kind of thing.
yeah, you can just kind of go visit him at
Yeah.
this funeral.
And also, I don't like going to a funeral and going up to see the body.
I don't either.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
I don't want to do
Oh,
that.
I hate it.
Like I don't want that to be my
I mean, I
last
guess
memory of
some
this
people
person.
need that for closure or whatever, but
I don't
that's
want
it sucks because that's how you end up remembering.
it. Right,
them
that's your
forever.
last visual memory of this person.
It's like I remember my great grandma, but I mostly just remember what she looked like in the coffin,
Yeah.
and like my grandpa and stuff. It's kind of not the best.
No, it's just like it makes a sad moment even sadder. I don't want to see their body.
Have you ever seen a dead person? Have y'all ever seen a dead
A
person?
bunch of times, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more than at funerals.
Yeah.
No, I've only ever seen one at a funeral. I mean, unless it was like a video or something like that. I haven't seen like dead.
Where
bodies.
have you seen the bodies if it's not at a funeral?
No, that's where
Don't
I've
ask
seen
those
it at a
kind
funeral.
of.
Where have you seen one, Jonathan?
My grandma was in bed.
Oh, like a family member.
My grandpa's sister, she died in her bed, and they called us over to wait on the corner, and they took 9 hours to show up. So we all just sat in this room with the corpse for like 9 hours.
Oh gosh.
That was pretty lame.
Traumatizing.
One time I was riding the train in Chicago, and I was just standing there with my sister, and she kept on looking over at somebody and then looking at me, and then finally she kind of got close to me. She said, "I think that man has died," and he was sitting on the train cart, and a woman was sitting next to him. They weren't like together. She was just looking at her phone, and his like head was back, and the eyes had rolled to the back of his eyes, and she said that's that face, that kind of look where it's like your jaws dropped and your eyes rolled back.
Yeah.
It's like your last breath is clearly.
Yeah. And
Done.
I said, no, he's just asleep. And then we kind of just watched his chest to see if it would rise and fall. It didn't. And so I was like, Amanda, we need to get off this cart.
Did you alert the girl sitting next to him?
No, we got off the subway. And then, well, we called
We kissed
security. No, we called.
Kiss him, see if he wakes up.
We called security, and the guard came running, and he was like, "Where's the body?" And we were like, the train just left." And he said, "You didn't stop the train?" And I was like,
This
"No."
corpse is just making circles around the city.
And he was like, he got so mad at us and started running off. And he never talked to. We never talked to
so
him. We
funny.
just
You
kind of
didn't
left.
stop the
He didn't want to be your friend
Yeah,
anymore.
I mean, it was a valid response, but when you're like 18 and 19,
Right. You're just like, I want to get away from this dead body.
yes.
Yeah.
And I just felt so bad for the woman who was like next to
Is there
him.
like a way to stop the train, like a button or something?
Yeah, you pull a lever.
You're just like, we got to get the fuck off this train.
Well, I think the other part of us was scared that if we did pull a lever, he would wake up and be like, "What the heck is happening? Why is
Or the
train
jolt would just
stopping?"
make him slide sideways.
Well, he was already sliding down. Like he was already at an
Like, leaning
angle
on that
sliding
girl
down.
next to him. He's like,
No, the opposite way, but
Oh, okay.
he was kind of getting off the
Go
seat.
up and sack tap him?
No, I did not. Yes. First of all, he was an older man. So that was another thing. He was like, he had white hair. And he was wearing a suit.
Do you think anyone's ever imagined, like, I'm probably going to die on a train, on a bus? Like, you're just like, I never pictured myself being the kind of guy who would die on a bus.
I think
or
people...
a train.
I don't think people think like that. I think they like to think that they are so important they would get, I don't know, shot in Dallas on the... I don't know.
I think they're going to get assassinated.
By a sniper.
Yes, by a sniper in a convertible. Convertible. Yeah, but I think people think they're really important, and that's how they're going to die importantly.
They're just going to get assassinated.
Yes, I do think that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I remember that 30 Rock episode where Tina Fey said that her worst fear is dying at home alone, choking on a meal by herself.
Yeah.
And I never thought about that could be something, could be a way to go.
I mean, there's so many ways. I mean,
you're right.
So, I mean, yeah, anything can happen. I think I'm going to, like, die on the road because people are crazy out there. And, yeah. And I do a lot of driving and commuting, and I just see a lot of crazy things every day around here. And I'm like, could happen any time. These people are nuts.
Would you rather know how you die or when you die?
Neither.
But that's not an option. There's no option C, Jason.
Oh, okay. How I die or when I die?
I think when.
Yeah.
Because then I can, like, plan out, these are the things I want to get done before then and do them.
I think I'd rather know how. Because what if it's like...
What if it's like drinking a glass of water and you're like, fuck, well, I do that all the time. How am I going to...
Right, yeah. If it's something that I have no control over, sure. But if it's like heart disease or...
Skydiving.
So, skydiving, right? Okay, I'll never go skydiving. Prolong it or not. I mean,
you have to. You're going to be on a plane and it's crashing and you have no choice.
Oh, well.
I've always wanted just to die in a hospital. I feel like that's the cleanest way to die.
It's the cleanest way, yeah.
Sitting on the toilet.
No, not at all.
All right, well,
thank you for listening to Hello Moon.
Goodbye, Moon.
Goodbye.